Hello everyone and welcome back to War Thunder, returning to this channel by popular demand it seems. Yes, welcome to, well, quote unquote, Let's Play War Thunder. A note on that title, by the way. I've called it Let's Play War Thunder because, well, in theory that makes perfect sense. We're playing War Thunder, and I'm playing it while commentating to you, the viewers, so Let's Play War Thunder works perfectly well as a title. However, it has to be said, these days, a Let's Play is kind of almost like a format these days, and where, you know, typically speaking, if someone says something is a Let's Play, it basically means, if I'm doing, say, a Let's Play of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, it basically means I'm starting from the beginning of the game, playing it all the way through for the benefit of the audience, and all the way to the end, and that is it. That is the Let's Play finished. It is a playthrough of a game, whereas this kind of definitely isn't, because I mean you can tell just by looking at my tech tree right now we're hardly starting at the beginning, and this game really doesn't have an end either. So, you know, unless you count unlocking every aeroplane and getting all the upgrades for it, all the crew experience and all the aircraft experience for every single plane, and you know, you could count that maybe as the end, but it would take you a bloody long time to get there, so obviously that's not something I'm going to be doing. So this series is very much going to be kind of like, I'm going to kind of have some sort of vague topic each time I do a video. Maybe I won't, maybe sometimes I'll just be like, hey, let's do a few battles and I'll record it, but you know, I'm going to kind of maybe stick to some vague topic for each video, and I will endeavour to like show you guys how the game works and offer what knowledge I can, and maybe help you get a little bit better at it. But for the sake of argument, we're calling it Let's Play War Thunder because I'm unimaginative and cannot think of a better title. So, anyway, without further ado, let's actually get on with what we're doing today. So, you might have wondered why there is a Russian biplane on the screen. The reason for that is I figured, ironically now, having said that we're not starting at the beginning, I thought we might start at the beginning. When you first play War Thunder, you are given a bunch of aircraft for free. You pick a nation you want to start as your first nation, and then through various battles you unlock the other nations' air forces, like here the German Air Force, the Americans, so on and so forth. I, for example, started with the British and gradually unlocked the other ones. Didn't take very long. It's not meant to take very long. After about a dozen battles, you should, in theory, I think, have every nation unlocked. But there you go. Heading back to the Russians. At the start of the game, you will get given a bunch of free aircraft. These are called your reserve aircraft. Now, in this game, when a plane gets shot down in a battle, not only can you no longer use it in that battle, but you can no longer use it full stop until you get it repaired. Now, most aircraft you have to pay a fee to repair it. Now, most people will start with this here, this box down here ticked: automatic repair of all airplanes after battle. Basically, that will mean that it will automatically repair and rearm, if you've got that ticked like I have, any of your planes after they've finished a battle. Now, you may want to untick that like I do, because with some planes it costs a fair amount of money, as in-game silver lions, which is the main currency, to repair your planes. So, however, what you can do is you can choose not to immediately pay to repair it, and you can wait a certain amount of time for it to be repaired for free. For example, if I hover over this, I don't know if it's going to actually tell me how long it takes to repair it for. No, probably not. I don't think I've got any damaged planes, unfortunately, to show you either. But anyway, like, it will take a certain amount of time if you just leave it alone by itself, and it will be repaired by itself without you having to pay a penny. So, there you go. Now, the thing about reserve planes is that they are always automatically repaired for free regardless. Every single time, because they're your reserve planes. It means you always have an aeroplane of some kind, well, you know, at least 3 or 4 aeroplanes of some kind to fly for every nation, regardless of how badly trashed the ones you bought have managed to get. So, these are the ones when you first start playing. Quite a few people who commented on the first War Thunder video I did say that they were picking up the game and they were going to give it a try. So I figured, well, why not offer you a video that may be of some use? So I'm going to play with some of these reserve planes. As you can see at the bottom here, I've got these reserve, rank 1 and a reserve. Now, the reason I've stuck the rank 1 in here, the I-1553 M62 Chaika, is because this will be one of the first planes you unlock if you're playing as the Russians. The reason I've got Russian reserves up here and not any of the other nations is because the Russians, it's generally regarded that the Russians have the best reserve planes. They have the best biplanes, basically. And so, without wanting to handicap myself in any particular way, I've decided to go with these guys, and I really quite enjoy flying the Russian biplanes anyway, so if I want to do some biplane combat, these are the guys I generally turn to, because they have the most fun, low-tier, bottom-tier, really, planes to fly. So, I'm going to basically jump into a battle, flying around in some of the reserve planes, so you can get a look at the kind of combat that you will be dealing with when you first start the game, as opposed to the Spitfire combat I was showing you in the introduction video, which is a completely different kettle of fish. So that's what we're going to do, and I'm also going to have this rank 1 in here so you can get a chance to see a rank 1 plane in action as well. So there you go. In fact, you know what, for now I'm actually going to replace that with another I-15 reserve, just so we can get into be completely sure we're going to get into a tier 0 match, because the level of planes involved in the battle you're going to be in is determined by the highest ranked plane in your list here. So if I were to shove if I were to have just biplanes, but then replace, say, this one with, I don't know, like, a MiG 315 over here, then that's a rank 4 plane. That would mean we'd get shoved into a rank 4 battle, even though all my other planes are just biplanes. So, yeah. Gotta make sure these are all reserves, actually, now I think about it. They're all basically the same. They're all different versions of the I-15. They look a bit different, but in practice they're all pretty much exactly the same. Kind of the same armament, same basic statistics, speed, and all that kind of stuff. Maybe some minor variations here and there, but it's nothing that's actually going to have any big effect on the way you play. And pretty much every nation's like that. They'll get a set of planes which are all basically alternative versions of the same one. So there you go. So let's go ahead and jump into a battle, and I'll get to show you some reserve biplane combat, which is actually quite fun. More fun than you might imagine for a very low tier game. If you've played World of Tanks and got really bored with the really low tier, tiny medium, tiny light tank combat you have to grind through at the beginning of that game, you may be pleasantly surprised by War Thunder, because War Thunder does have some quite fun early combat in it. So I'm going to stop blabbering, and we'll jump into a battle, and I'll show you what reserve combat is like, because it's significantly different from the latest stuff. I will tell you that right now. Alright, we've got into a game. That took bloody forever to get into one, by the way. The average wait time is apparently 9 seconds, and yet I was waiting for about 1 minute 9 seconds. So I'm beginning to lose faith in anything that average wait time thing says, honestly. In any case, we've got a ground strike mission on African Canyons. This is a very common map at low levels. I'm going to jump straight into this I-15WR. First little one on the list here. I'm going to change my gun targeting distance to 300 meters instead of 400. What is gun targeting distance? Well, that is basically the point at which your guns converge. Now, I'll just jump into the battle right now. I'll kind of show you what I mean, rather. It's a little bit difficult to explain with this, because this machine has machine guns in the nose there, you can see, but it works better with aircraft which have guns in the wings. And basically what gun convergence is, your guns on your plane aren't actually pointed straight forward, they're actually all pointed inwards, slightly towards where your crosshair is pointing, basically on the screen. And eventually the bullets will fly inwards and they will converge on a single point, and then after that they will fly off in different directions and won't be accurate. And basically changing the gun convergence basically means you're changing the range at which your guns are at the optimum accuracy. So I've loaded it to 300 meters, 0.3 kilometers, because that means I can fire more accurately when I get very close to someone. So anyway, here we are in our little I-15. We've got a whole bunch of planes down there. A P-36, really? Okay, well, whatever. The matchmaker has seen fit to shove us into a slightly higher level game than you normally would get when you first start the game, because a P-36 Hawk, which is an American fighter, is well, I think it's like a level 1 or 2 possibly a level 2 plane, which I'm not particularly happy about. There's an HE-112 down there as well, but anyway, we'll make the best of a bad job. These are the best of the best when it comes to reserve planes, so I think we'll do pretty well. Now, I'm going to go down here after this HE-112. As I said last time, I'm recording this and commentating live, rather than doing post-commentary, which I may well do in the future, honestly, because it's probably smarter to do it that way, because my performance in the game is actually kind of affected by the fact that I'm trying to commentate. And he's dead. We got the assist because that bloody hurricane down there managed to kill him before get the final shot in before he died. Even though I feel like I did most of the hard work there, really, but never mind. Such as War Thunder. Oh dear, yeah, we took some fuselage damage there, but we're okay because the Russian flight models in this game are a bit generous. So anyway, I'm going to climb up to a bit of an altitude right now. A bit of an altitude. And have a look down here. Now, as I said in the first video I did, the thing you've got to remember in this game is you need to pick your targets carefully. I think it was Sun Tzu who said something along the lines of, you know, to win a battle you need to know that you need to pick your battles so that you know you can win them, basically. And the same kind of applies in War Thunder. What you really want to do is you want to treat, and I'm sure this has been used before by plenty of other people, this kind of analogy here, but it's a good one, so I'm going to plagiarise it a bit. Think of the enemy fighters as a herd of wildebeest, and think of yourself as a lion. Now, this isn't some sort of rubbish motivational speech here, I'm being quite serious. What you want to do is you're not going to go after the strongest, densest part of the herd of wildebeest, are you? You're going to go for the stragglers out on the edges where they don't have any friends to help them. And the same applies here. For example, we've got a whole bunch of guys down here, but I think over here on the other side of this mountain we may have an enemy who's gone off by himself. I'll have a little look over here. I can't quite see him. No, I guess that was my imagination, but oh look, here we go. See, this Fury Mark II down here. Hello. Well, no. There, I was right. There was a guy there. I just couldn't see him. Like this HE-51 down here. He's miles away from the rest of his friends. He's got no support whatsoever, so I intend to dive down on this guy and see if I can't shoot him down. Because he's made the mistake of getting isolated from the rest of his herd. And so he should be a fairly easy kill, especially since I'm in a superior aeroplane to him. You need to really discipline yourself in terms of when you pull the trigger in this game, something I'm not very good at, to be honest with you, because I was firing at him there, but way ahead of my optimum accuracy. Oh. Now, this guy I've already hit a few times, but he's a bit screwed, really. I mean, having said that, I bet something horrible will happen, I'll get shot down, but he's pretty screwed because these Russian biplanes can outturn just about anything in the game. They are a little absurd like that. Oh, I don't know. No, I think he's too damaged to really outturn me properly at this point. There we go, straight into the cliffside. Got ground force rescue for that as well, because he was shooting some of our ground targets. So anyway, there you go. That's a textbook example, really, of how to pounce on an enemy and take them down in biplane combat. Low altitude, well, you start off at high altitude, you find the weak spot among the enemy formations. In this case it was this fella. You pounce down on him, you get nice and low to the ground, because biplanes perform very, very well at low altitudes. That's pretty much what they're designed to do, after all. You get down there, have a bit of a go at him, lots of turning to the left and right, lots of turning combat. Not very much vertical combat. You don't want to be going up and doing loops like this in a biplane so much, because they're not really suited to it. I mean, I could be wrong, but I've not had much success doing that myself. And look, we've got here Nimrod over there with someone on his tail, and an I-15 down here, who I very nearly got into a head-on pass with then. Don't do that, by the way. Don't get into a head-on pass with an enemy plane. And now I've lost sight of him, because I blacked out in that high G turn, and I think we're getting picked on by someone else here, but we do have a friend nearby. So, yeah, who he's going after now. Which is giving us a little bit of a break, so maybe we can get round, help him out, before he gets shot down by this arsehole. This guy's also in a Russian plane, so we're essentially on even terms here. In fact, he might be performing a little bit better than me because I don't think he's as damaged as I am. But he's stupid enough to ignore me. He's gone into a fight with 2 guys, and I'm essentially acting as this blue fella on my left's impromptu wingman here, really, because he's getting shot at by this fella. And there we go. Well played to the bloke in blue down there. I can't quite catch his name, I'm afraid. Imperious666. Well played to him, because he did exactly what you should do if there's someone on your tail and you can't shake him. And that was bring him back to a friendly couple of fighters and have them deal with you. You know, have them clear the bandits on your tail. Very good idea. He did exactly the right thing there. He couldn't shake off that Russian biplane on his tail. Don't blame him. So what he did is he flew off in my direction because he saw that I was free and hoped to God that I would shoot the bloke on his tail, and I did. So he did precisely the right course of action there, and there we go. Got an assist. It's a bit of points, but a bit disappointing. But then again, that guy looked like he'd already been shot up like crazy by someone else, so that seems fair enough to me, honestly. So we've got into a bit of a furball here, which is kind of fighter pilot jargon for a dense dogfight with lots of planes all flying around trying to shoot each other. Except it seems to have cleared up a bit now because most everyone's been shot down. But yeah, this guy's pretty screwed. I think I've destroyed his steering. There we go. 3 kills now. Now I'm going to try and get out of here. I feel dangerously... Yeah, there's guys flying around here. You want to try and stay as close to your team as you can. There's always a minimum of actual what is that? Oh, is that just flak? Right, never mind. There's always a minimum amount of cooperation in these games. The arcade battles, certainly. You can team up with some other friends you might have in what's called a squad. And you can fly together in missions, you know, squad up, and then if you've got TeamSpeak or something, you can talk to each other and act as each other's wingmen. And that's generally a very good idea and a very good way to play the game. It's a lot of fun, yelling at each other over the radio like real fighter pilots. But generally speaking, if you're just fighting by yourself, you want to stick close to your friendly teammates because you're less likely to pick up an enemy on your tail. For the simple fact that, you know, a big pack of fighters is scary to an enemy pilot. Very scary indeed. He doesn't want to go near it. If I see a big pack of fighters down below me, I'm not going to dive straight into it, and the enemy's not usually stupid enough to do the same. So there's safety in numbers by every means. See, we've got plenty of friendlies around here at the minute, although there are a bunch of guys diving in on our guys over there, and they do have a height advantage, so... There is a fighter pilot maxim, which goes something along the lines of: altitude is speed, and speed is life, or speed is survival. And that very much applies in this game. You want to try and... You want to maintain what's called a good energy balance, and by that I mean is you want to either be going nice and fast, or you want to be nice and high up. And you can convert speed into height, and you can convert height into speed. And as soon as I've dealt with this guy, I'll try and show you exactly what I mean. There we go. Right, so I'm going quite fast, very fast for a biplane at the minute, actually. 353 kilometers an hour. Got some guys over there coming down to the canyon behind me. Not too worried about them though. I'm going very fast. I've got loads of energy stored up, basically, because it's all about speed, basically. Now, say I want to convert this speed into height. Basically what I do is I use the speed I'm going at nice and fast to nose up, try and climb, get a bit of altitude. And as you can see, the higher I go, the slower I'm going. My speed is bleeding off because I'm fighting off the forces of gravity trying to go up like this. But by bleeding off that speed, I've basically exchanged it for being much, much higher up. I'm now at like 1,300 meters or so. And that's good because it means I'm above probably now most enemy players, and that means you have an innate advantage because you're able to dive down on them, and it's very difficult for them to nose up and try and attack you when you're higher up than them. Now if I wanted to go down... Oh, game's over now. But anyway, if I wanted to convert that height back into speed, I'd basically go into a dive, I'd start getting much, much faster and much, much slower to the ground. And that's what maintaining an energy balance is all about. So that's especially important to bear in mind. Oh, lovely, I've ranked up. That's especially important to bear in mind when you're playing as, like, say, American planes or German ones, because they're all about preserving good energy balance. If you're playing as... Let's have a look. I'll have a breakdown of this in a minute. If you're playing as the Brits or the Japanese, on the other hand, their fighters actually quite excel at low altitude turning fights with low speed involved. You know, you don't have to worry about it so much with those guys. But when you're flying, say, a P-40 with the Americans or a Bf-109 with the Germans, you want to maintain that good energy balance. You want to be either going very fast or very high. If you get your energy balance out of whack, that basically means that you're very low and you're going very slow as well, and that's dangerous because that means you're pretty much a sitting duck for any enemies nearby. So be wary if you're playing in a fighter that is basically what's called an energy fighter, like the P-40 or some of the American carrier planes like the F-4U Corsair or a Wildcat or something like that. You need to maintain that good energy balance, otherwise you're going to die. And the way you would lose a good energy balance is usually by trying to get into a turning dogfight like we've been doing in this one, with the biplane going left and right and losing speed in those turns, because you do lose speed in a turn. But thankfully we got away with it in this because a biplane is designed to do that. Do lots of low speed, low altitude turning dogfights. So anyway, hope that was helpful. So here we are, mission accomplished. How do we do? Oh, we came third on our team. That's not bad, considering I was waffling into a microphone for most of it, not really concentrating on what I was doing. Have a look at our results. We got from that 2,434 credits, which is not particularly amazing, but it's mostly down to the fact that most of our kills were really assists and not actually kills. We did get 13,980 XP though. That's quite nice. I am also running a premium account here, which means that all my XP and money is doubled at the end of every match. If you're not using a premium account, you'll get a thing popping up saying, if you had a premium account, you could have earned this much XP. So yeah, basically I have a premium account, which means I'm earning double what you guys may be earning normally. In addition to that, as you can see at the top here, I got bonus experience for the first victory flying this country's planes, and that happens every day. Whereby you'll have on the country logo down at the bottom of the screen, you'll have a little ×2 logo, and basically that means that first time you win a battle, and that's important, is you win a battle, not just participate in a battle. First time you win a battle for that day, you will get double experience. And also this thing here means, yeah, premium bonus. I got 840 additional credits, 6,000 additional XP because I'm running a premium account. These are the other things you get. Mission awards. In this case, it was a bunch of upgrades for the I-15WR, which was the plane I was flying. So I got a radiator, compressor, and offensive 7.62mm belts. I'll show you those in a second. So anyway, let's press OK. We're back on this main screen here. Now, if this wasn't a reserve plane, this thing would probably be damaged, and I would have to click a button to repair it. Probably wouldn't cost much because we were still airborne by the end of that. But there it is. It's a reserve plane, so it got automatically repaired for us. Now, every time you fly one of these planes, you'll get a bit of crew experience, usually, at least if you get some kills and stuff. So, as you can see, there's a little pilot's head logo down the bottom left of the button for the I-15WR here, and that means that we've got crew points to spend. So let's go in here. And here we are on the crew skills screen, which I did believe show you in the previous video. And as I said before, these are the different skills which affect the performance of your plane via the pilot or the crew of the plane. You have a bunch of different skills here in different categories. And, well, basically, you may be wondering, right, you know what these do, because they have very helpful tooltips when you mouse over them that tell you pretty much exactly what they do. But you may be wondering which are the good ones to start off with, which are the good skills to put points into early on when you first get started. Well, it depends on the plane in question, but as a general rule, what I tend to do, this is just me, it might work differently for you, but it's all about experimenting and finding out what works for you really in this game. But what I tend to do is I will put points into reload speed, which is the rate at which the weapons are reloaded in the air and at the airfield. Now, that doesn't apply in historical battles where you have limited ammo, but in arcade battles, you can fire off all your bullets, and then what will happen is a countdown timer will start counting down at the top left of the screen until your guns are quote-unquote reloaded, and you will get a fresh supply of ammo to use. Now, increasing your reload speed skill reduces the amount of time it takes to reload your bullets, or if you're a bomber, for example, to get new bombs in your bomb bay. So that's pretty useful, because sometimes if you're in a dogfight and you run out of bullets because you haven't reloaded in a while, it can mean the difference between life and death, basically the speed at which you reload. So that's a good one to get, that is. I also tend to go for two things on here as well first, above all others: G tolerance and keen vision. Now, keen vision, this is all kind of key to the way I play the game, and pretty much the way most people who are good at the game play it. And basically, this skill affects the pilot's visual range in the direction he's looking, i.e. the maximum distance at which he can detect the enemy. So basically, that means it is the maximum distance at which enemy planes are revealed to you, with a little red tag over the plane with the name of the player and the plane they're flying, basically. So it means you can spot enemy planes from a longer distance, and obviously, when I'm talking to you about sort of managing to fly high, look down at the enemy, pick them out, make sure you're not being followed by anyone, make sure there's nobody above you who could pounce on you and that sort of thing. This is very important. Knowing where the enemy is half the battle, basically, in this game. And G tolerance, as the name suggests, is your tolerance of positive and negative G forces. In the mouse aim mode, this skill apparently affects the control accuracy of the aircraft as well. I don't know to what extent that's really true, because I have a P-40 Kitty Hawk with a very high G tolerance on it, and it doesn't seem to be any less sluggish than when I first got it, unfortunately. But the main thing with this is, you noticed a few times back there, when I pulled some tight corners, the screen blacked out. And in fact, in one case, I completely lost track of that enemy Russian biplane, who then proceeded to put a load of bullets into me, and by some fluke, I didn't manage to actually die. The higher your G tolerance is, the more Gs, basically, the tighter turns you can tolerate before your screen starts to black out, essentially. And again, that's very, very important, because again, it can mean the difference between life and death in the middle of a dogfight, because you don't want to lose track of the guy you're trying to shoot at, because if you do, then there's a good chance that he might end up managing to get on your tail, because if he hasn't blacked out, because he's got higher G tolerance than you, then he's instantly got an advantage, because there's a couple of seconds there where you are completely disorientated and you don't know where he is, which gives him an opportunity to either escape or, worse, get on your tail and shoot you down. So, which he almost did, didn't he, in that particular instance? So yeah, I tend to go for, like I said, G tolerance, keen vision, and on the ground service tab here, reload speed. I feel like those are absolutely begin with, those are the three probably most important skills I would say are worth investing in. So there you go. Now then, we've got some crew points here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bump that straight into, some of that into reload speed, some into G tolerance as well. And we've got 1 point left, which, I don't know, bump it into vitality, which will, like I said before, increase your pilot's health, make him less likely to die from a stray bullet. So there you go, and as you can see here, this weapons tab button here is flashing, which means we have new upgrades available to us. So at the minute we have a bunch of tier 1 upgrades available, in fact all of them available. Fuselage repair, radiator, offensive 7mm, and you mouse over them, it'll show you what it does. For example, if you mouse over fuselage repair, it will show you a change of aircraft parameters, 0.00037 to drag coefficient of blah 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 blah, some jargon which I don't pretend to understand. However, it will say below that, for example, calculation of changes to aircraft specs, which basically breaks it down into layman's terms for you, thankfully. And basically, purchasing this upgrade will basically give me +1 kilometers per hour to my maximum speed, and plus 0.1 meters a second to climb rate. Doesn't sound like a lot, but the point of these upgrades is not, you very rarely get an individual upgrade which will make a huge difference to your plane. It's very much a cumulative thing. These all stack, these upgrades. And as you get more and more and more of them, they all stack up, and you end up getting a fairly significant bonus to your plane as you get them. Let's have a look at, again, this is the radiator, gives us another +1 kilometers to max speed, plus 0.1 meters a second to climb rate. Taking these two together, that's basically, double. That's plus 2 kilometers an hour and plus 0.2 meters a second to climb rate. We also got over here weaponry. You'll notice there are categories here: survivability, flight performance, and weaponry. Over here, a set of 7.62mm belts for offensive weapons. What is that? Well, you see up here, offensive 7.62mm. Sorry, my diction's rubbish as usual, but anyway. This is the ammo type you have loaded into your machine guns, basically. And if I mouse down here, as you can see, these are all redded out and unselectable. They are locked at present because I don't have the available belts upgrade. I've basically not purchased the set of belts to put in my plane. So if I were to buy this for 10 lines, which is basically nothing, this is a reserve plane after all, with the more expensive high rank planes, the upgrades are going to cost you a lot more, just so be warned. Now I go up here now, oh look, I can buy some more ammunition types. I've got tracers here, stealth, and universal. Now, I don't really know what the benefit of tracers is. Honestly, I really don't. I've never really picked it because I didn't honestly see the point. So you can see here it consists of APIT, armor-piercing incendiary tracer bullets. There is in the game's encyclopedia an explanation of the different ammo types and what they do. You may want to look it up. What I generally tend to go for is universal, which is basically like default but better. It gets rid of some of the more useless ammo types like ball, omnipurpose bullet, which is actually a type of bullet designed for shooting infantry with, and since there are no infantry to shoot in this game, it's entirely pointless to have it there, so I will generally go with universal. So there we go, slightly better. Consists of, in this case, a tracer bullet, armor-piercing incendiary, adjustment incendiary bullet, whatever the hell that is, and armor-piercing incendiary tracer bullets. Incendiary bullets, obviously, like the name might suggest, will hopefully set your target on fire if you shoot him in like a fuel tank or the engine. And armor-piercing bullets are good for shooting armored targets, like bombers, for instance. You also have stealth here, which in this case consists of armor-piercing incendiary bullets and adjustment incendiary bullets, but they don't have any tracers, which basically means, as the name kind of suggests, it's stealth. It means that you can't see that that this person who has stealth ammo equipped is actually shooting someone until you get hit by them, because there are no tracers. You may have noticed in that match there when I was firing, you saw little, tracers. You could see where the bullets were going because some of them were glowing. And basically picking stealth means you don't have any tracer bullets loaded into your magazine. And basically means that your bullets are, for all intents and purposes to the naked eye, at least in aerial combat, basically invisible, which can give you a bit of an advantage. It's a bit of a drawback at the same time, though, because if you can't see where your bullets are going, sometimes it's very difficult to adjust your aim to make sure you get your bullets to land on their target. So I don't often pick those, but if it works for you, it works for you. Like I said, normally I go with universal. I'm also going to pick up these, because why not? And you see, now we've got all three of these. I think you only need a maximum of 2 to advance to the next rank of upgrades. As you can see here, it's now unlocked the compressor, which gives us plus 6 kilometers to max speed, plus 1.6 meters per second to our climb rate, and minus 0.1 seconds to our virage time. Before you ask, I have no idea what virage time is. I should probably look it up at some point, but anyway. So yeah, that's another upgrade. As you can see here, this upgrade over here remains locked because I need a total of 11,000 aircraft experience. Brackets, I personally need 3,910 more experience with this plane to unlock these new machine guns. For now, I'm just going to go ahead and buy this compressor, and so there you go. And you also see, in addition to requiring experience, you will actually need to have a certain number of upgrades in the previous tier. So for example, to get that compressor, I needed to have at least, I think, 2 upgrades in tier 1 before moving to tier 2 and being able to unlock the compressor, basically. So that's how that works. And universal, please. There's a bug in the game at the minute, I think, where the ammo type changes by itself sometimes, so you might want to check before you go into a battle that all your planes do indeed have the correct ammo type loaded in. But there you go, so there we are. Right, so we have done a battle. We did pretty well, shot down a bunch of enemy planes. I showed you the reserve Russian biplanes, which, in my honest opinion, are the best biplanes in the game, the best reserve planes. I've showed you what the post-battle screen looks like, giving you a breakdown of that, and I've shown you how basically the crew points work, and I've shown you how the upgrades work. So hopefully that should give you a decent enough insight into the early stages of the game to get you started, get you doing a few battles, and hopefully get you winning a few battles as well. So anyway, that's all from me for now. Happy flying, everyone. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all again very, hopefully very soon.